Firing up the live stream now. Everybody hold tight. I know you people on IG can see me. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything else will be following up shortly. Hey, everybody. I'm Nick Slavik. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavik Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It is a weekly live social media show on a whole bunch of channels that we talk about being a master craftsperson and the life of a paint business entrepreneur. And boy, have I got updates for you guys tonight. I've been taking notes all day today. I've been grabbing stuff from the internet, comments, questions from people. I got my whole list of stuff to go through. We are in the thick of it. So this is one of those things where typically I get on live on a Saturday morning, but it is go time, everybody. We are house painters, and it is Minnesota, and it is summer. So I got a whole bunch of stuff here as normal. Anything you guys want to talk about, you guys just drop it in here. Any topic, any question. Like I said, I'm going to be going through my hit list. We got people beaming in from all over the place here. I really appreciate everybody watching. Any question, any topic you guys want tonight, anything that you would like to talk about, we are here for it. So first of all, let's talk about some PCA events. We're starting to populate the calendar, right? So we re-strategized the board of directors and the near-term vision of the PCA. Everybody loves these events so much. And so what I did with the rest of the board of directors was decide we're going to lean into this extra hard. We're going to be the keepers of the standards. We're going to be the keepers of the training, business and painting, but we are going to lean into these in-person events. And what you're seeing here is a culmination, a grouping of those events here. Some of them are for me, some of them are for the PCA, but we have the Gathering of Minnesota Painters coming up, our big one. We are the flagship gathering group in the entire nation and entire North America, and we are proud of it. We have a lot of people. 450, 460 contractors in there. And so we're getting together for a social with Handy Pail this July. I have my retreat in August. That is a filled up retreat, but keep looking for the winter one as well. PCA and Espanol is in going to California, August 13th through 16th. Looking forward to that one. September 12th through 13th. Tom Reber's Mile High Profit Summit. I'll be at that one with you guys. Let's see. SurfPrep, SoCal Masters Class. My yearly trek to the motherland of SurfPrep over there. 27 September, Lake Elsinore. PCA Residential Conference is coming to Minneapolis. Surprise, surprise. Jason Paris and I and a whole bunch of other people will be here hosting, putting on, facilitating, doing that with the rest of the PCA. It's going to be an absolutely awesome time. Then we have the Gathering of Minnesota Painters fall/winter get together. This is the big one, folks. We have hundreds of people there. We're going to the Graco World headquarters. Sherwin will be there. We got master's classes, presentations. We got estimating, experiments, all sorts of fun stuff. And then, of course, we have recently announced the big expo, our Super Bowl, next February 3rd through 7th in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor, the historic Broadmoor. So you guys get all your travel scheduled because you are not going to want to miss this one. I can promise you. Every year we have kept upping the ante of expo, and you do not want to miss it. So we have a page up and ready to go. You can actually book your hotel room right now. And I would urge you to do it because we may be the only expo in this entire place. We're probably going to take up a good portion of this place. So it is fantastic, you guys. It is absolutely fantastic. So get in there, book your room. The registration, the awards and everything are not quite there yet, but we did want to make sure that people could get in there, reserve under our discounted room block and all that other good stuff. You can see that there is a whole bunch of events here coming. We have basically planned out most of 2024. 2025 is taking shape here. This is absolutely awesome. Look at this. There's our first Spanish conference on the schedule coming up here is in September. Then we have the residential one in Minneapolis. Like I said, Women in Paint, we actually just announced the location. That's going to be updated on this website shortly. Hispanic Leadership Conference, commercial painting. We have a place. We haven't announced it yet. Coming shortly. The Craftspersonship Conference. That's going to probably be in early 2025. And of course, the expo is going to be there too. So I would urge you guys, if you've never been to any of this stuff, you got to go. Onyx Painting, looking at you and Instagram. Amigo, we'll see you around, buddy. That'll be a fun time there. Leo, Wyatt, Rapids, how you doing? Good to see everybody. Oh, Benoiche, Paulo, Olivero, good evening to all my friends down in Brazil there. Boa noite. Miss you guys. I got to plan another trip down there. I got to talk old Ronnie and Giuliano Alcantara to get me down there again and see what we can do here. So, oh, what's up, man? We're the second Goop, Gathering of Ohio Painters. Yeah, man, you guys are an OG group like that, and thanks for all your leadership with that, man. That's been absolutely awesome. So, all right, folks, like I said, any topic, any suggestion, I'll be patrolling the internet here. Put them in the comments, either on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm going to start hitting my hit list here because it is, when you talk about hot and heavy and being a master crafts person, an entrepreneur and in it, we are in it, folks. We're in it of the in it. It is mid-June in Minnesota, in the upper Midwest. If we're lucky, we got 4 months of time to do this. If you minus out the rain days, the dew, the holidays, the weekends, and everything else, we probably got like 70 days to get all the painting done here. So, Colorado Painting Company, what's up? Had to show up for episode 420. Oh, you California people, yeah, I get you. Well, we're coming to see you in February, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, rain days. May has been the 9th rainiest May in Minnesota history. Minnesota history, of all the history of Minnesota. Let me get rid of this for you guys here. We'll put on something else here. Get rid of this for now. I got more stuff to show you guys. So May in Minnesota has been the 9th rainiest on history, twice as much rain as normal. And guess what? The first 2 weeks of June, we are very crafty with our scheduling. It is basically raining, flooding, everything here all week. Most people are calling the entire week off. We are not. We got digital moisture meters. We're planning the right projects, the right crews everywhere. And we're probably going at about 2/3 capacity right now. We moved the entire main company, the crafts people, the full-timers inside this week. It was just like rain, everything. We're getting crafty with our seasonals. Our seasonals are highly trained in deck and exterior projects. So we're moving them around to get them the hours too. We have a shop that's absolutely jam-packed full. I mean, I don't know that we've ever had this much stuff in there. We got projects coming out the wazoo in there. And then basically with our subcontractors, we're a little light with that, but most of our subcontractors do some of our big exteriors, stuff like that. So it's going really well. I would really like to help out some more clients at this time of the year. I bet you right now, this could be, if May was the 9th rainiest May in history, we actually got a lot of work done in May. The first 2 weeks in June are basically a washout. We are just getting hammered by rain and everything else. I would imagine right now, if you look at the history of Minnesota and just look at the first 2 weeks of June, this is probably one of the rainiest ever. I mean, this is literally, we're having flash flood warnings everywhere. There's thunderstorms, tornado warnings every single day coming through. It rains at night. It rains during the day. It gets sunny for an hour. And then the rains, I mean, I'm staring at these black clouds going over the Slavik farm right now too. And it's just crazy, but this is what we train for, right? We got a whole team of people. We got a leadership team of 6, 7, 8 people with all of our assistants in there. And we're just going for it. We're helping as many clients as we can. We're testing things with digital moisture meters, and it just kind of is what it is, folks. And it's really good. Like, so this reminds me of the pandemic in the year 2020, right? We're given some things that can be a friction point or stop us from doing business. We want to keep our people safe. We want to be productive. We want full paychecks for everybody, but we also have some constraints that we have to do just for human decency, right? We don't want to paint people's houses in the rain. We don't want to lose the trust of our clients. But I remember this is not the pandemic. Rain is not a pandemic, right? But it is a friction point in what we do. And so, Aaron Schaefer, big one there. I'll get to you in a second here, man. So when you think about the year 2020, we ended up growing like 47% that year, right? In a year where a lot of people gave up, shut down, retired, threw in the towel, things like that. And I remember the strategy back then, and it's a very unsatisfying, unsexy, sometimes, just very unsatisfying strategy with is you go to the basics. You just go to the basics over and over and over again. You hit job costing, you hit your one-on-one meetings, you're doing high velocity professional communication with your clients. You're just getting out there doing all the substantial basic things over and over and over again. And there's a little friction thrown at you, but when you give up, you don't even have a chance to do that. So just like this, which is we wake up every day, we try to make a good decision. We try to give people the most heads up they can possibly do for the projects, and we get out there and we just do it. And yes, we're only working at 2/3 capacity right now. now, but that's 2/3 capacity. It could be 10% capacity. We could have just gave everybody the week off. It's just not, uh, we just can't do that. So yeah, I'm just looking at the Instagram stuff here. Thanks everybody there. Can we comment questions on Instagram? Because there's not a little box to drop questions in there. There might be a little a box with a question mark down in the bottom. If not, you can just type a comment and I'll get to that stuff. And I'm going to pause right here. Aaron Shaver, my man, my past apprentice and now apprentice in the entrepreneurship side, a guy that I've been following and started his own company. All right, let's get to some IG questions, comments. Hey, everybody. Oh man, lots of people watching there tonight. How's everybody doing? Casey. So excited for Women in Paint coming to Florida. Going to be a great event. Hope you had a great Father's Day and anniversary weekend. Absolutely. We just announced the Women in Paint. I couldn't be more excited about that group. That you want to talk about excitement in a portion of our industry. In the 140-year history of this nonprofit, last year was the first year we ever had a women's event in there, and it was absolutely awesome. So Excelsior Brewing. Oh, I love your guys' beer. Thank you so much for watching tonight. That's awesome. One of my favorite towns, one of my favorite beers there. So, Tales of the Beard podcast. Thank you for watching as well. MP Painting. Very excited to meet all of you at the PCA this year. Do not miss it, folks. I'm telling you, do not miss it. Jay, how you doing, my friend? Watching on Facebook. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. Aaron Shaver. Hey, boss. I hope you're doing well. I have a few questions I'd like to get your insights on. I don't want to take up too much time so others can ask their questions. I'll always polite, Aaron. Real quick, Aaron, years and years and years ago, before I reset my company, Aaron was one of my superstars, my hotshot, young, decent human being apprentices. One of the people that I learned how to do the decent human being principle on that kind of got me onto this. And amazing. One of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my life. You put him on an exterior, he knocks that sucker out. And the biggest part is no limiting beliefs, no head trash. And he looked at every budget as a contest. He looked at every quality of finish as a contest, and just there's nothing that you could do to bum this dude out. Just getting after it. So, all right, question number one, what are some of the most effective strategy you use to grow your painting business? Number two, how do you handle marketing and client acquisition? Number three, what advice would you give to somebody just starting a painting business? Oh man, how many episodes do we have here? Feel free to answer these at your convenience. There's no rush. Thank you for your time. Dude, you're always so nice. Best regards. My God, you're such a polite guy. So Aaron moved down to Texas for his family and started up his own painting business. And we've been talking in between. He's doing amazing work down there. I'm seeing some of the most thoughtful posts on social media from him too. He's doing it right, folks. He's doing it right. So I'm glad he's in the industry. I'm glad we're doing this together. So number one, what were some of the most effective strategy you used to grow your painting business? So I can tell you a lot of ineffective strategies, which is not having anything written down, not having any standards, not being consistent with your standards, and not holding accountability. One of the most effective strategies you can use to grow your painting business is so it took me a lot of years to figure out like what standard it was. I don't feel like there's a lot of other people, like there's the strata of people that I look up to in the industry seem to know those things quicker and sooner in their life than I did. Now, maybe it's intuition, maybe it's biology, maybe it's they just looked for benchmarks earlier. But honestly, it took me a very long time to make a comp plan that would be incentivizing to people, but not too easy, not too hard, somewhere right in there where you can offer people a ton of stuff, but also meet the goals of the company. So basically, what I would say is you can use lessons from me and other people who have really, drugged themselves through the mud to find this stuff, but have standards and die on a hill of them. Know what will support your company, what will support your people. You want your people to be as highly paid as you possibly can. You want your company to be profitable, so it's around there for your people to give them the jobs. As soon as you find that comp plan that incentivizes both and you win together, stay with it and hold the standards of quality, hold the standards of attendance, hold the standards of job budgets, hold the standards of your core values and common human decency. And also strategies to grow. The knee-jerk reaction to all this is hire a bunch of admin stuff out, grab a bunch of painters and go for it. But honestly, you'll cowboy up to $1 million to $1.5 million, and then you'll probably have a cataclysmic crash after that. So I would say one of the things to help you grow the best and grow once instead of going back up and down is literally going to be like job costing, It's going to be consistent marketing every week, every month, not just when you need it the most. Consistent recruiting through your network, constantly making relationships, gathering good people for your hit list of potential people to work with you and around you, things like that. And it's consistency, not extremism. Really, it just is that. So we're getting a whole bunch of questions. I'm gonna have to rocket through some of this stuff here. So and Palmer, welcome. A mentor of mine says you got to like that, Aaron Shaver. And you mentored with Nick. Yeah, exactly. So Palmer, kind of like a business mentor of mine, me sort of mentoring Aaron on here. Number two, how do you handle marketing and client acquisition? Consistency, right? So number one, the best clients you can get are word of mouth, repeat, and referral, but you can't scale a business on that. You always want to steady a healthy base of that, but you can't control when it comes in, really. So what you want to do is be constantly out there using effort and using money to solve marketing, and sometimes both. You want to be constantly posting everywhere that free you can. And there's a thing called the quadrinity, like the basic starter pack for being a true professional contractor and the basis of marketing, which is website, Facebook, Instagram, Google Maps listing, or Google listing, like that. Those things are basically all free. You can get a website for 10 or 20 bucks a month. If you just stay active every day on those four things, you can post, you can comment, you can alter, you can change, you can update, you can all this other stuff. You will be able to grow a pretty good business just off of that. And then once that kind of taps out, it depends how fast you grow, but typically $500,000, 600, 700,000, you can bring word of mouth to, and then you're going to start needing to do some paid marketing. So Aaron, let's hit number three, and then we got questions coming in all over the place here. So what advice would you give somebody just starting a painting business? I think you combine those first two questions and that's it. The other thing is there are so many like specific technical things you could say. Here's this app. Here's this price per square foot. Here's this uniform or a t-shirt. Here's a specific paintbrush. Like those are the easiest things to solve. The thing that I can provide the most value and say, the things that provide the most value in starting a paint business is just know that this is hard. This is going to be a life's work. At best case scenario, pain, tears, suffering, hard work, consistency, it's going to take about 3 years to professionalize a business. 3 years to professionalize a business at about any level. So you can do it when you're small, which is really easy. You can do it when you're very large, which is much harder. But either way, the over and under is about 3 years of consistent hard work of learning how to run a business. And honestly, the other big thing I can tell you guys is only 1% of all the painting businesses in the United States ever ever gross, ever produce over $1 million of revenue. And it's not because we're not capable. It's because it's hard. It is hard, man, because most of us are good craftspeople. We're visionaries and we're not good managers. And what makes a large, consistent, profitable company is somebody at the helm every day being consistent, never letting off the standards, never letting off job costing, never letting off accounting, financial reviews, never letting off the standards, never letting off communication, supporting your people, looking at the comp plan, doing marketing. It's just consistency. So founders, scalers, firefighters, cowboys, guess what? You're going to have to become a professional manager probably sooner than you like it. So you can fight it all you want. You can cowboy through it, but you're going to need a consistent manager. And most of the time it's going to be you because there's very few companies that can actually afford one. So, all right, let's go through some other comments here. Comments from IG. Aaron, you're so thoughtful, dude. Glad we're all doing this together. I better see you at Expo one of these years too. Also, we're going to be having scholarships for Expo where we're going to basically pay you all expenses to go there. So look out for that. There's application processes and things like that. And the board of directors and other members review them and we actually vote and stuff on them. So Aaron and others, I would say get those as soon as you see a link open for that, get those suckers in there. So, all right, we'll be back to Facebook shortly. IG. Oh, Bankston Painting. How's it going, man? You're consistently holding your team. How are you consistently holding your team accountable for completing the scope of work in the allocated time frame? See, that's the thing. There is what I know people are capable of. There's what we set the budgets of the company at. And then there's sometimes what our people do. And we have the greatest people on earth. I love these people to death. They are thoughtful. They're decent. They share our core values. They're amazing craftspeople. They're hard workers. Sometimes personal life gets in the way of them doing really good, fast work. Sometimes the work gets in the way of getting to do good, fast work. There's a whole combination of those sort of things. So the hardest thing I do is to hold the line between standards and empathy, because to a fault, I lead with empathy, right? And I always think, well, the more empathy you show somebody, the harder they'll work and then they'll hold the standards. And honestly, even good people, you have to do both. You have to have a balanced approach to those sort of relationships where you got to hold the standards, but you got to give empathy where empathy lies. Now, when to come down hard, when to be stern, when to really, really die on the hill of something is there's a decision tree. When there is, I'm just going to call it a violation. Violation is a very harsh word, but when something doesn't go as planned and something is a violation, there's either like a technical violation or there is like a core values violation. A technical violation would be, I grabbed the wrong paint, I painted this room wrong, now we have to spend twice as much time. If you come down like a ton of bricks on somebody for doing a technical violation, for making an honest mistake, you're a bad boss, right? You need to lead with some empathy, even though that person is going to get paid twice as much. You're going to get paid half as much. You still need to lead with empathy. It was a legitimate, honest mistake. Now, on that decision tree, if it's a core value violation and they did something against the common basic core values of your company, you need to come down a little hard. That's when you make eye contact, you look them in the face and you say, that is not acceptable. That can't happen again. If this ever happens again, this is the consequence of that sort of thing. Do you need any support from me? Do you need any training? Is there anything else I can do to support you in not doing that again or in a win in the future? That sort of thing. So you still give a little empathy, but a core value violation has to be come down hard because it is the core values. It's not a technical, a simple common mistake. It could be something more systemic. So you just got to be careful of that. And the problem is I don't want to do any of this as a leader. I just want to pay my people a whole ton of money. I want to have a lot of fun. But here's the deal. When you get this many people together, you have to have a manager. Everybody needs a manager. Everybody needs system. Everybody needs accountability, even me. I mean, Lord knows I have like 5 people that hold me accountable to this stuff. So love that question. John Brenner, hello. Paulo, Nick, soon we will do a live together and share painting and decorating knowledge between Brazil and the US. But first I'm improving my English. Paulo, let's find us a translator. Let's get Ronnie on here and let's do one together. That is an easy thing. Paulo, you name it. Let's do it anytime, man. Ronnie will translate. I'm just speaking for Ronnie. Ronnie Santos will translate for us. Mindful Painting. My friends at Mindful Painting. Mr. Fran Cozy, how are you? Bonoiche. All my friends. Soft Color Pinturas. Oh my God. Hold on a second here. So this is a statue. This is made out of wood from the Brazilian rainforest. And this was made by my friend, Mr. Soft Color Pinturas, the first time I ever went to Brazil. It's one of my prized possessions. And it sits in my office here. He carved this and then he hand finished it himself. And it's one of my favorite things in this entire world. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Put you back over here where you're safe. Wooden head from Brazil. Okay. See what else we got here. Thank you everybody for watching. Oh my God, love this. You guys are so thoughtful with all your questions and stuff here. So, okay, back to Facebook here. How have you dealt with scenarios when your staff just never grew as fast as you? I would need a couple little more bits of information about that. Oh, here you go. He's got another one. How have you dealt with scenarios when your staff just never grew as fast as you or wants to? So that's a little subjective. I will tell you this. Just taking a step back from all this stuff is when you professionalize a business, when you go from one person or 0 people to a whole bunch of people, you necessarily have to professionalize. And some people don't make the trip with you. It just kind of is what it is. I will tell you this, we need to be a little introspective about this. In that process, sometimes it's a business owner that don't make that trip. I've been very intentional about making sure that I'm at least keeping up, if not staying ahead of my company. I have a whole bunch of people, support system helping me with all this stuff. I think I'm effective at it. We will see, but there's very few people that actually make that tip over into professionalism, and it's always a work in progress for everybody. Nobody's a perfect manager right out of the get-go, but there are going to be scenarios where when you grow, there's a time where we're all firefighters and cowboys and scalers, and it's like, hey, we don't have anything written down, we don't have an SOP, we don't have a comp plan. Let's just get out there and do good work, and I'll make sure I take care of you. And the raises kind of come here and there, and the standards are sometimes here and there, and you give a little empathy, and then there's standards, and then you go real fast, and then you take some time off, and it's just all this kind of stuff. And sometimes that becomes the culture of your company. And it may not be that the people are unprofessional. It's that you have set the standard and set expectations for a life and a professional life and a business that operates like that. And when you change to now, here's our standard hours, we can't be late. We're gonna clock you. We're gonna rate your performance based on attendance. You can't miss this many days, otherwise you don't get raises, things like that. All of a sudden, that can be jarring to the system. And even good people sometimes, if they get used to a certain system, it's hard to change. I see change being difficult for a lot of humans, right? That's just a thing. Sometimes we forget that as the visionaries and founders and scalers and generalists like me, we love change. We seek it out. We thrive in change. We love it. I mean, ask a painter live. I mean, I love going live. Having a fairly rudimentary plan, shooting from the hip and just going for it, right? That bugs some people out, right? Some people need a vetted plan. They need to rehearse. They need to do other things. Not good or bad. It just is. It just is. So I will say this. There's a lot behind this question. It is true that a lot of people will not grow with you when you professionalize. But I will say this. In order to know if they've grown with you or not, you need to be way ahead of them in professionalization. You need to lead the way. You need to take ownership of that so that you can actually judge them accurately. Because if you're mired in it, if you're unprofessional and you're saying that people aren't growing with you, or you expect all your people to professionalize farther and faster and around you, you need to lead the way. And that's the thing. But Terry, I would love to talk to you more about that question. That's a deeply philosophical, and there's actually a ton to that question, as you probably know here. So, oh yeah. Brian Santos, good friend in the industry, saw Aaron's post. Aaron's been doing some very thoughtful posts here. So, painting questions. Here we go. Al Harrison, best airless tip for spraying prime drywall with duration satin. Oh man, love this. So, my remodel / new drywall process is this. We take a leaf blower when it's appropriate to all the drywall to get all the dust out from under it, in the cracks, in the corners, the ceiling, all the stuff where it just hangs out completely out. We open up windows, we get push-pull fans going. You get the leaf blower going and you just zap that stuff out. You get the mask on and suit up and everything. And then once it's all clean, sometimes you give it a wipe down finally with a little microfiber or even a dust mop. Typically then what we'll do is we'll use PVA primer, polyvinyl acetate primer. And I would like either a 1221 or a 517 and just go to town and just hose the walls down with the PVA primer. It soaks in super quick. It's super thin. It kind of consolidates the drywall stuff. I do not back roll my new drywall. I think you're going to raise the grain of that paper anyway. I don't think you need to impart texture at that point because we're going to brush and roll duration matte. You're using satin matte over the top. So 2 coats of that gives enough stipple, brush and roll. So then after we PVA prime all the walls, heavy PVA primer, we will let it dry. We will sand it and then we'll light check it, LED light along the side, patch anything. 2 coats, brush and roll, duration matte. Now, if you told me I had to spray drywall with duration satin, I would certainly be in a scenario where everything is primed, the ceilings are not finished painted. I would spray. I would go wide fan pattern, smaller orifice size. So let's start thinking about a 5 or a 6 series tip in a 13, 14, 15 right there. 517 would be a little too big, but I would try to go the widest fan pattern you can get with the smallest orifice size. So if you got a 413, if you got a 513, somewhere in there, I don't even know if you can get 510s or 4. I think you can get some 410s. 410s might be a good one too, but you just want a nice wide fan pattern. And then I would back roll that stuff because satin is real satiny. Nowadays, duration has a pretty high satin when it comes to duration. I would want to back roll that stuff because even if you do a perfect coat, drywall's not perfect and you're just going to get drugged through the mud on that stuff. Especially when you spray, it's going to be much shinier. If you don't back brush or back roll, you're not going to be able to touch it up either. And Lord knows you're going to have trade damage. So I would say general idea with a heavy bodied paint like that, small orifice size, large fan pattern and back roll. Al Harrison, let me know how it goes or what your favorite is there. Oh, Burgess Perry, my fellow veteran and paint business owner. What's the best referral program you have works when creating a referral-based painting business? Oh, interesting. So honestly, maintaining a true referral bit. Now there's 2 ways to think about this. Referral is like, hey, if you tell somebody about me, I'll give you this, like an incentive program referral. There's also the referral where you just want a whole bunch of word of mouth repeat and word of mouth and repeat clients, things like that. An actual incentive program is super laborious to facilitate, right? You got to, number one, get a hold of the people. You got to administer it. You got to then take in the referrals in a way where you can track them back to somebody else, and then keep track of giving them that thing for that. And it gets real squishy when you ask somebody, where do you heard about us? I mean, there's times where people are way out of my network of my local home newspaper and say they heard about me in the newspaper. I know they didn't hear me about the newspaper. They've never seen my hometown newspaper before. So when you talk to somebody and you say, hey, we're word of mouth, I got referred to you. It's like, great. Who do you refer us? Oh, shoot. It's that, I met him downtown. I'm sorry. Jim, Jim, it can be a little difficult. Now, that's one referral program. If you're just looking to create more word of mouth, repeat, and referral clients like that, honestly, the thing that I found the most useful is sometimes unsatisfying, which is you got to make it easy for them. They're likely not going to remember your name, even if you gave them a great experience. So the general idea is you got to give them lots of marketing touches all the time. So generally what I like to have is kind of the low hanging fruit of this sort of thing is like flyers, social media ads, email marketing. And so you can hit people quite a few times a year. And if you change up all your content, you offer some value, interesting things to look at, processes, insights into your business, things like that, you can hit them. I'll probably hit people somewhere between 2 and 4 times a year with a flyer. Yeah, if you're in my area, 2 to 4 times a year, you're going to get a flyer. Twice a week, I send out an email blast to all the people in my network, thousands and thousands of people. And then social media ads. I'll send out paid social media ads as well as organic posting in my area. We'll do either once or twice or a day organic posting, and then we'll do a bunch of paid ads. We can go anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000 a month, depending on the need for the company, and really get out there and sort of like, touch it. So when you drive home, there's going to be a flyer in your mailbox. And then you check your email 2 weeks later and there's an email from me. And then there's a social media post and it's that marketing touch over and over. And maybe you see my yard sign, maybe you see my vans on the highway, and it's just enough. Like I can think of companies here in Minnesota, like Dean's Mechanical and things like that, where you see enough vans, you see a billboard, you see an advert here and there, and it just becomes a common name. Like I can picture Dean's Mechanical, his old logo. I can picture the new one he just rebranded to. I can picture his slug lines. I can picture his company colors, because it's just touch, 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 touch over and over and over again. So honestly, Burgess, the way that I do that is you got your client list, respectfully stay in contact with them a lot, multiple avenues. And I typically like to do a very Minnesotan thing, an introverted thing, where it's not like, hey, I want a job. Do you have a job? It's more of like, here's some value. Here's a cool before and after of a house. Here's a cool things my people did. Here's something we're proud about. Here's something you didn't know about the company. Just touch, 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 touch. And that's sort of what we do there. So Burgess, always good to talk to you, man. Palmer, welcome. A mentor of mine and the guy who helped me build my fleet. Awesome guy. Phil Klein. How's your official... How is your first official 6 months of admitting you have emotions, and how has it changed the way you operate in your business? If it has, oh, Jesus, man, we should make this a show. Also, let's see. I don't have one right here. My mug, Phil Klein, you are a number one on my list. My mug lady surprised me with 6 handmade limited edition mugs with my face on them here. And you have been waiting the longest out of any human ever. I literally haven't given a mug out in years. It's been that big of a gap with this. So I have a mug with your name on it, Phil Klein, and we will get after it. Now, I admitted in front of 1,000 of my friends at the expo that I have emotions, and I even showed some of those emotions when we did that. We have not released the full video of that yet. That is a highly edited video, a highly produced video, and I don't know what the PCA or myself wants to do with it, but it is out there, and we'll probably end up doing that. That was one of the more meaningful moments of my entire life. I will tell you this. Accountability is an interesting thing. Now we can think about, well, here's the standard of a finish, or here's a standard of attendance, or things like that. Accountability can come personally and emotionally as well too, right? We talked about staying ahead of your company professionally, evolving yourself as a human to constantly stay above. So you don't have to, so you are there for your people in a way that is meaningful, and you're always staying ahead of it. Over the past couple of years, I have really leaned into what I would call performance coaching. Some people call that therapy and things like that. But for me, it's sort of like, it's exercise in a gym. It's that old cliche where you constantly work at it. You learn a bunch of new things. You challenge yourself. You put yourself in very uncomfortable positions, and you do things better in the end. And through uncomfortability and pain and suffering, and sometimes wild emotional swings, and just like hard times, you come on through the other side better. And I love that kind of stuff. I absolutely love that. The harder you can make it, the tougher you can make it, the more sort of brutalism that I can experience, the better I come through. I like to attack things head on in a hard way and get through it. Phil, I think I've become a better person. I think I've become a better father, husband, better citizen. I've certainly become a better paint business owner. And I've gone through two changes of this in my life. Number one, my company's been around for 16 years. In the first 1 to 4 years, I realized I had a lot of bad traits from the person that trained me to run a business and to paint. And I got short with young people. I got short with my employees. I had very high standards. There was no empathy at all. And I went through one metamorphosis trying to shrug those old ways to try to just be a better human, but also to be a boss in the modern world can be brutal, can be just brutal. Like the way that I got brought up 30 years ago in this industry, I was just screamed at, do it better, do it faster. It took me 11 years to get my first good job out of somebody, right? Nowadays, that is laughable. There's not a human I employ that would put up with any of that stuff. I don't know if it's good or bad. I assume that's all good. But they hold you to a higher standard. And in turn, we need to change as well, too. So finding that mix of empathy, love, and standards and professionalism is a tough thing, especially for somebody who comes into it with a lot of baggage from early on in life. So emotions have been interesting, man. For a lot of my life, I have been turned off to a lot of stuff. I was just a flatliner. You couldn't get me too excited. You couldn't get me too sad. I had a super high pain tolerance, and there'd be wildly painful things happening all around me, and it was just straight on, right? Now, there's probably a little bit of that from upbringing. I'm certain there's some of that from Army. I'm certain I got some of that from college. I'm certain there was some of that from my early upbringing, and there's definitely some soul deadening that happens, some numbing of the emotions when you're a business owner. Like if you are a super emotional business owner, which I would consider myself to be internally a very emotional business owner, boy, your life can be completely sidelined. You start losing sleep. You're not present for your family. And honestly, that's been the thing I've been working on the most, which is I don't know that I'll ever conquer my emotional investment that I have with my people and my business. I don't even know if it's a bad thing. The problem is it becomes bad when you're not present for your family for a decade at a time, and you're not remembering moments when your kids grow up. You're not remembering meaningful moments with people who want to be your friends that you're just completely numb to, thinking, oh yeah, they're great, I met that person, we move on. So I have come full circle on that stuff, and I am pausing. I'm being more present. I'm learning to just be more consistent with all that stuff. The theme of my life right now. And boy, is it paying dividends. I mean, I have never been in a better place personally or professionally than when I put myself through pure brutalism. And my God, Phil, we got to talk about this. I'll hand you that custom made mug, Phil, and we'll talk about this more. My God, it's been a couple of years, man. I'm having the time of my life here. So I would urge you guys, if you don't seek out a performance coach, we can always talk about apps. We can talk about KPIs. We can talk about a business coach, and those are great. I've made some of the biggest strides in my life under the guise of a business coach, but I've made some of the most deeply meaningful, consistent, and possibly generational changes in my life by getting deeply personal. And it's been awesome. I just absolutely love it. So let's see. Aaron Shaver, you're the man. Appreciate that. Oh, Oscar Milan, how are you, sir? Mark Ruffino. Sorry, if you guys want to talk about oil primer, I got a little deeply personal there. That's fine too, but that's what this is for. You don't come here all the time just for tip sizes and stuff. So, there. Speaking of tip size, Al, I'll try my HEA 513. Oh, dude, you're not going to do better than an FFLP, an HEA. Also, if you guys haven't looked into Bedford machine, Bedford Precision, they make some sprayers. They also make some pretty good tips too. It's pretty cool, man. But yeah, all those are great choices here. So, all right, Burgess, you're the man. Jessica Galloway, handmade mugs. Oh my God. So I wonder if I I got one locked up in my chest of oddities there, but I was looking around. I have a box of these 6 handmade mugs that she made after years and years. And I got them when I restored the church in New Ulm. She lives in New Ulm, Minnesota, and it was absolutely awesome here. So, all right, Jessica, they are awesome. Jesse Allen, when we start the NSPRC annual golf tournament for veterans, you haven't seen anything to seen painters golf. Oh my God. So we are actually just starting into the golf tournament sort of season in Minnesota here. And Fridays, we do a lot of charity golf tournaments for local sports groups, youth sports groups and stuff. So Jesse, I tell you what, action item for you. Let's send me an email. I think we might be able to work out something with this. This is a good idea, whether it's through the gathering groups or something else. I think we can do something with this. So send me an email reminder, Jesse. Always good to hear from you. Appreciate you, man. Jonathan Gilbertson, appreciate that. Phil Klein, coming your way, my friend. I owe you. You've been the most patient man on the planet. Elder, how's it going, my friend? I do appreciate that. All the kind words. Okay, let's go back to IG, see what we got going here. My gosh, how is everybody doing tonight? It is a popular night to be on Instagram and Facebook. So, okay. Burrow, professional painting, great stuff. I just retired as a professional firefighter for 22 years, and now I want to scar my business to have free time with family. I'm assuming it's start my business to have free time with family. You're very inspirational, Nick. Thank you. All right, so coming from somebody who's done this for a few years, I love this more than anything else. You retired public servants, you retired first responders have a very good way of doing this. Actually, there was some people here watching before. Look up Allegiant Painting. Those guys are awesome. They're kind of that first responder stuff. They started a painting company. They're super inspirational, do a bunch of charity work. I will tell you this: if you started your own company to spend more time with your family, it depends what you do with your company. If you didn't start off with a good background like me and you want to grow a big business, prepare for 5 to 10 years of losing time with your family in a big way. If you come from a professional background, like a firefighter, and you're consistent and you're professional and you hold the standards and you're empathetic towards others, you can grow a pretty nice business in a very short amount of time, or you can have a lifestyle business. So you could just say, you know what, I'm going to paint by myself. I may have a helper here and there, but I'm not going to overstress it. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to do great work. I'm going to job cost. I'm going to charge what we're worth. I'm going to keep track of my P&L, and we're just going to get after it. And you can run a beautiful lifestyle business. In fact, I'm trying to lobby the PCA to let me do a panel discussion with some of my favorite super secret people who fly under the radar that have lifestyle businesses across the country, who are the happiest people on earth. They invest heavily in real estate. They do masterful stuff with the craft. I've never seen happier humans. They run their own business. They have ultimate freedom. I want a panel of those people to show you guys what's possible out there. Because you hear me talk about running a professional business. You hear Jason Parrish talking about having one of the biggest painting companies in the country, doing minority stakes in other painting businesses. But the one thing we don't hear all the time is people who are just as satisfied doing a single or 1 to 2 or 3 person company and have deep real estate investments, happiness, freedom, things like that. I'm lobbying the PCA to get me to have that panel there. So golf in Hawaii, the right painter. Yeah, I tell you what, we still don't have Gathering of Hawaii painters, my friend. I feel like you're the man for the job. And should you have the first ever Gathering of Hawaii painters, perhaps your PCA board chair may come on out and spend some time with you guys to kick off your first one ever, like I have in Florida and other places like that. So I tell you, you have the first Gathering of Hawaii painters. And I tell you what, you might find me and Jason and some other guys flying out there for that. So swoosh, Serge. Thanks for everything, for opening up. Mickey the painter, how's it going, my friend? Love following that guy. There's people talking to Mickey on there too. Mickey's a jab, dude. He's awesome. The right painter. I switched to lifestyle last year. It's great. Burroughs Painting, been painting 22 years, 7 to 8 W2 employees. Time to get off the tools. And your advice, Tanner's advice too. Oh, dude. Burroughs, you got to, if we have not exchanged emails yet, you got to email me, man. Nick@nickslavik.com. Let's get after this. I would love to get you involved with the PCA. I would love to get your perspective, man, because I'm seeing more and more people like that, like you do that. So I would absolutely love that. So, all right, back from IG, back to Facebook. Jesse Allen, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Jessica Galloway, since returning home from the expo, I have been learning to transition away from being a technician. I'm really interested in what your day looks like and how you time block business owner stuff. I have lots of SOPs for how to do many things. Oh my God. Well, I'm feeling a calendar share coming on here. So Mike Danahy, how's it going? I'll make that, Phil Klein, I'll make that trip to Hawaii, bunch of family. Oh my, okay. All right, here we go. The right painter, I feel like you have to have the Gathering Minnesota or the Gathering Hawaii painters now. We're getting people volunteering from all over. I think that would be absolutely awesome. All right. CCW Paint Co. That's something I'm trying to navigate at the moment, being mentally present with my family, still in the early stage of my business. I'm stuck wearing all the hats. I would say you get to wear all the hats, and nobody says you have to work 12-hour days either. If I could go back and do something different, my wife did a pretty good job of stopping me from working, weekends and stuff like that. I still put in a ton of hours. I wish I would have gave myself about 50 hours a week, 5-10 hour days, and just said, you know what, you have to do better with the time you have, and then find somebody to hold you accountable. So, okay, man, I didn't even get to like number 3 on my list here, guys. Here's what I'm going to do. Since we're present, Jessica Galloway, one of my favorite people in the industry, you want to see what time blocking looks like for a professional paint business owner. So I will show you 2 things that have helped me a lot here. So let's go to, I'm going to get my calendar rocking here. Where is, I'm looking for, I've been having a lot of interesting weeks here. So here's what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you a week off into the future here. Let's get some screen shares going. Boom, right there. All right, here we go. So time blocking. I'm not really a compliance guy. So what you'll probably not see is at 7:15 in the morning, I exactly do this. There's times in my day where I do that, but really what I try to do is say, here's are the blocks of the day. This part of the day is for this. This part of the day is for this. I've settled on a really good routine since the start of the year, and I've had a lot of help with this. I will tell you this. I have never been more consistent. I've never had better results than the routine that I'm having right now. And it's not earth moving. It's not earth shattering. It's not anything special. I'm not drinking anything special. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not using some app. I'm not doing any sort of hack. It's basically just like do boring, unsexy things semi-regularly, consistently all the time. And this is typically what it looks like. So when I block off, so this is an unmolested calendar. This is like in the future, this is what I basically open myself to. The best routine I've ever had in my life is I wake up at 5 a.m. I used to be a 4:30, things like that guy for you. In fact, through growing my business, honestly, I had set an alarm for 4 o'clock for like 5 years, and I never once needed it. It was always somewhere between 3 and 4. I was up and I was like, you know what? There's things to solve and I need to do it. So what I'm trying to do is be more consistent and changing my time blocking to wake up at 5 and go to sleep between 9 and 10 so I can spend more time with my family. And then on the weekends, I revert to staying up till 11 to midnight and then trying to sleep in until 6 or 7. We have a new puppy and young kids, so that doesn't always happen. But I'm trying to shift my time so I can actually be present with my wife more. So 5 o'clock, wake up, and there's ideation. And I'm going to run through this really quick. If you guys got questions about any of the specific things, but on Facebook, I'm doing a screen share. All you IGers, LinkedIners, and YouTubers, I actually have my calendar posted up here if you guys want to see that. So, okay, 5 a.m. wake up, and I do ideation and I work on my goals. There's about 7 or 8 areas of my life I'm trying to be very intentional. Every quarter, I have some very simple things I try to comply with. One of the things I do is I get up and I look at that. I don't have music. I just have a cup of coffee in the dark and I look at that. It's a spreadsheet on my computer and I read it top to bottom to remind myself of the just a couple simple things you need to do. Like 7 or 8 areas of your life you want to be intentional about. Small little micro goals done well all the time for the first half an hour. And then honestly, one of the things that I love the most is this thing. I have this really awesome process where I have a 2-page sort of thing for every week. Every week, I have my main to-do list here that I write down. And then every day, I pick out 3 things, 5 things that I just want to get done. And some days it's like, oh my God, I'm going to blow past that. The general idea is here's your main to-do list. Here's all the things you can pick from. Prioritize them, pick 3 to 5 things, put them on there and say, I'm going to do those 3 to 5 things today. And magically, even if you do 3 and it's before 9 a.m., congratulations. You have 261 working days in the year. If you do 3 things a day, that's 790 things that you get done in the course of a year. And some of these are big, some of these are small. But what I do then is I write my couple things over here, and then throughout the day, I cross them off. Then I go to the next thing and next thing. And I will tell you, this is 2 weeks ago. It's one of the most productive weeks I've ever had. A little more than 2 weeks ago, I think. It's a week before I went on vacation, and I had a 2-page to-do list the week previous. I was knocking out 3 to 5 things. I would cross those off, 3 to 5 more, 3 to 5 more, 3 to 5 more. And I accomplished everything on this page in 1 week's time span. And it was one of the more productive weeks I've had. It also, we get kicked into gear before we go on vacation, because when I was coming back from vacation, I was prepping to train my beloved new estimator, Tom, when he came back. So everything had to be ducks in a row there. So in the first half an hour of the day, I look at my document of intentionality and I start looking at those areas of life. Every morning, if it's a Monday, I rewrite this entire list from the previous page, add some things that I've been thinking about, and then pick 3 to 5 things. And then I usually start picking away at those in the first half an hour of the day, but no music, no other stuff like that. And I just start organizing my day. A lot of the times it's just set your Google Calendar. I don't try to answer a whole bunch of emails there. I just do that sort of like planning out the general day, looking ahead, things like that. At 5:30, I go and lift weights in my garage. I got a little iron paradise in there, and I do 30 minutes of weights there. Nothing too strenuous. It's just more of like, I get very bored and I hate exercise a lot. I was a distance runner when I was younger, and I hated every second of it. It was just like drudgery. It was just this weird, consistent, nothing ever exciting happens. You can't listen to a lot of music when you race and things like that. And I get really bored. So I change up my routine. I go between walking and lifting weights. And right now we're in a weightlifting pattern. I'm sneaking in some walks, which makes me think that I'm probably getting bored with that. But I try to do 4 days a week, that quiet ideation for a half an hour, 4 days a week with 30 minutes of some sort of either walking or weights. And then I basically go through, I have an hour gap between when the weights stop and the walking stops, and then I go to the office. And so I'll go in, I'll take a shower, I'll get dressed in my business casual stuff. I'll make my oats for the day. I do oats, milk, nuts, and fruit in a thermos, kind of like a poor man's overnight oats that don't actually soak overnight. It's like just cold oatmeal, basically, when I think about it. I'll make myself a second cup of coffee. And then I will head into the office. I'll usually just say hi to my kids if my wife's awake, things like that. I'll do some final things. If there's some checks, deposit slips that have to be made out, I'll do that. I'll go to the office, usually about 6:45 in the morning. I'll get there, make sure everything's on. Typically, project manager Mike is there nice and early too with me. And I just start like getting my computer set up. I set my cup of coffee down, things like that, so that when everybody descends on the office at 7, we're good. Morning routine, 7 a.m. Number 1, me and my leadership team go down to our shop and we do a project plan for the stuff in the shop. We have the same routine every day. And there's some things that I get loose on, right? And there's some things that I am dead set neurotic on. Dead set neurotic is at 7:05. We go down there and we inventory every project in the shop and put a status update of where it is. We make an hour by hour plan for the shop with the crew that's actually in the shop. And we talk about what coats to do when, sequencing them here. Here's the deadlines for this. Here's the budgets for this. And then we execute. Then we go back upstairs and we do something called TSV, Time Station Verification. Time Station is our timekeeping app. And everybody punches in and punches out. And we go through every single human's hours the day previous. Not only make sure that they punched in and out properly, that they're going to get paid for those hours. We actually go into every project and then take those hours and put them on the actual project that they worked on. This allows us to have laser focused job costing at the end of the week. Third thing is, in the summer, we have 2 project manager assistants that come in to help us out with all the color matches, the kickoffs, the closeouts, the after images, and everything else. There's so much work to do in the summer. Then we basically go through all the things that need to be done for the jobs this week and next week, and we send them out on their list to do that. And then I put a hand in with my project managers and say, go forth and do your stuff. Now, what you're seeing then every day, that usually takes us about an hour and 15 minutes. What that does, it is so tempting to sit down and just hammering emails. But the problem is you're not taking the time to plan your day and your week. And I love that time. We start off the day with having an airtight plan for the shop. We start off the day with knowing exactly all the hours are allocated to see where the jobs are at budgeting. And then all of our assistants have a plan of where they're going to go, what they're going to do. And then we can get to the emails. And you're only an hour and 15 minutes into the day. Then I let people go and do their stuff. We usually have a bunch of leads we have to kind of look at. There's some questions about jobs, and me as the operations manager, we kind of just sift through all those. And then I'll typically do at least one business owner task. So you're looking at these yellow things across the board here. Monday, as soon as that's done, I do payroll. I go through PTO, I go through unpaid time off, I go through sick days, I go through all that other stuff, deductions and all that, and I send in payroll. I then post lead times to our Slack channel for our estimators. We just take a look at the lead times for all the types of our jobs. On a Tuesday, I typically go through job costing and invoicing. So we have a hotshot high school intern who does all of our job costing and invoicing and asking for reviews. And I will go through and review. We will look for every can of paint. We'll look for every hour. And because we've done all the hours, we know the hours are accurate. They just have to get put on there. We'll go through all the paint invoices. This takes about a half an hour, 45 minutes for about 18 to 20 jobs a week. We got it down to a science. So now, again, being consistent, not extreme. We're just doing every little thing micro. We're not waiting for a month. We're not waiting for the end of a quarter. We're not waiting for the end of a year. This information is fresh. If we're missing a paint invoice, we're like, wait a second, did we get a second batch of paint for the walls? Didn't we run short? We started with 5, but we needed 3 more. I'm not seeing the extra 3 more. That stuff is fresh in your head. That's how you have laser focused job costing. I don't actually talk about that very often. We talk about job costing, but I don't actually tell you on a micro level how we do it in my company. And that's exactly it. We do it hardcore. Wednesday, I do a weekly update for the company. I post that on Slack. Thursday, I don't usually have a task. I usually like to send out some crew appreciation, some human appreciation on either a Thursday or a Friday. I also have a bunch of monetary goals in my life, personally and professionally, and I start transferring around money to hit those goals. And then I go through my bill pay every Friday morning too. There's a couple of bills that don't get automatically paid, and I always just remind myself there to do it. Monday morning, my big routine is the one-on-one and the meetings day. So I have a 45-minute with estimator Tom, 45-minute with estimator Ian. We have a 1-hour leadership lunch where we all get together and we go to some restaurant and we locally, and we just build some culture, talk about work a little bit, good time. And then project manager Kelly and I have a one-on-one later on. We usually give about an hour and a half after lunch to get people like settled, answer Slack questions in there. Then one-on-one start again. Project manager Mike is after that. And then hotshot coordinator Jack is their last one in the day. And it's a lot of meetings in a day. It's a very tiring day, but I love doing it for my people. It's an amazing thing. Now, general idea after that, Monday's the big day. Everything is set. Then my general strategy every day is 7 to 12. We work 10-hour days, 4 10-hour days. 7 to 12 in the morning is time for me to accomplish these things. Right? I try not to take any meetings. I try not to set up any calls. It's literally just support your people, get the field moving. There's usually about 3 to 4 quiet hours before lunch, and then I can start accomplishing that. I get all my tasks done for the day, and I leave the afternoon typically open for meetings then. So if somebody wants to do a podcast, if I have a coaching session, if a client wants to schedule a call with me, PCA committees, you can see that there, live streams, coaching sessions, all this other stuff. I typically have those in the afternoon. Then on Friday, 5 o'clock, then we're typically done for the day. The last hour of the day I reserve to working with schedule for my project managers, especially on these rainy weeks. And we go through the schedule and things like that. We get that posted every day so our people know where we're going. And then Fridays, my leadership team and all my painters are off. I typically work from here. I have a little breakfast with my family at the island when I'm in town, when I'm in the state. I do my things, my crew appreciations. I transfer my money, my bill pay. I go through some marketing stuff as well, which one of the things I might to do is I actually started my daughter in her job in the business today, which is super awesome to do with her. And then typically I'd like to, spend a little family time during the school year. If my wife's around home and the kids aren't, we'll go out to lunch, we'll have breakfast at the island, things like that. And then typically Saturday morning is Ask a Painter Live. So that's kind of my weekly routine. I have never been more happy. I've never had more time for my family. I've never had more spiritual and monetary success in my business. And it literally came from like, what are the standards? and being consistent about just upholding them and being empathetic towards your people. So I've been having a blast with this schedule, guys. It's a bunch of kind of no duh stuff, but I found a really good rhythm that meets my personality. And we'll always try different things. We'll always do different things, but man, this has been really good so far. So I tell you what, I am going to pin this list. I am going to save this for next time, but you guys have been awesome here. I'm glad we could do a little screen share and stuff too. So don't forget PCA events. Don't forget PCA Expo. You guys are going to want to see the Broadmoor. This is an amazing place. I can promise you, we keep saying we're not going to up ourselves and do it better. We are absolutely going to up ourselves and do it better this year. It's going to be unbelievable. So, God, we didn't get to 90% of the stuff I was going to talk to, but I love talking to you guys. So, all right, everybody. That's been the show for tonight. Join me in these events. Join me for PCA business training. All the stuff we talked about here is what we teach in business training. And I have a list of events in the show notes here. You'll see all these things, all these events here with links to join Expo, links to do the PCA business training. If you want a master's class in your area, I got Marsha's email address. Everybody loves Marsha from the PCA. You can email Marsha and get me in your area for a master's class. That would be a lot of fun. So, all right, everybody, you have a good rest of the evening. I hear my little puppies barking in there. I want to go snuggle up with them at the end of the night here. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the thoughtful questions. This has been absolutely awesome. Like and share the show, and we will see you guys probably this Friday or Saturday again.